Good evening, sir. So you can start sharing your PPT. We'll be starting then.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good evening,
I'm
sir.
ju- I'm just started sharing my screen. So today is basically the debriefing session of the cardiology. So today is the debriefing session for cardiology,
Debriefing session.
and so the questions have already been, I think, shared with you guys. Around 32 questions are there, and we shall be discussing the questions in brief, and of course the correct answers and those things will be shared. Okay, so we shall be starting without any further delay. So the first question was this one. Basically, a question on atrial fibrillation and how is it managed. 76 years old woman who presented in acute medicine follow-up clinic, and we did a 12-lead ECG which showed a normal sinus rhythm. So the initial 12-lead ECG had a normal sinus rhythm, but at that time she had before that she had palpitations. She had these episodes a few times before, and they always reverted spontaneously. No past medical history. 24-hour Holter was done. We showed a 10-minute run of AF. Right. The patient did not feel palpitations at this time. So basically, this elderly lady is having atrial fibrillation intermittently, but sometimes she's symptomatic, sometimes she is not. And so, what is the risk for these patients? Because this question, of course, atrial fibrillation is one of the most commonest things asked in a EDIC part 1 exam or for part 2 exam for that. But like what are they trying to assess here? What they're trying to assess here is that not all atrial fibrillations needs to be with a fast ventricular rate or with hemodynamic instability, or like the patient is having a heart rate of 160, 170 in AF, and then of course the patient needs an amiodarone or a DC cardioversion or a beta blocker at least, right? But what about these patients? Because these patients, although it's a medicine follow-up clinic, but these patients can be in the ICU with something else, and to find out that the patient has got an AF. And we often see these cases also, right? So now let us see the options. If you know the option, and then straight away you can mark and move on. But if you don't know the option and what to do, so we shall discuss that in 2-3 questions, or you can get an idea. So first is no treatment is necessary as the AF is short and self-terminating. I think by common sense we know that this is not the right answer, right? Second is pill in the pocket flecainide. So pill in the pocket flecainide is for well-controlled AF who is already on some medications and who is asymptomatic. Okay, also not the answer. Regular dioxin is if the patient is in heart failure, then we do dioxin. But the patient has got no past medical history and they don't know whether about the EF and those things. So the options are this and this: regular amiodarone, regular beta-adrenergic blocker. In a hemodynamically stable patient, OPT base, or even in the ICU for something else, we always prefer a beta-adrenergic blocker over an amiodarone. Especially there is some noise from my end or what? Anyway, so here the answer will be, of course, be the regular beta-adrenergic blocker, right? I hope you got how we reached there. Oh. So this is the second question. So the second question basically is, sorry. So the second question is basically the patient has presented palpitation and dizziness, and he has a past medical history of hypertension and IHD and a myocardial infarction 6 months back, for which a PCI was done to left anterior descending artery. Now the heart rate is 190, there is ventricular tachycardia, blood pressure is 60/30, there is no chest pain. He denies chest pain. lungs are cleared. So the patient is not in heart failure right now, and also not in not a fresh AMI has occurred. But because of this blood pressure and the high heart rate, we underwent the usual procedure, the DC cardioversion, and we achieve sinus rhythm. And after that, we did a repeat echo, and we saw that there's old anterior infarction and nothing else. Troponin T 25, 40 right now. So not too much increased besides the cardioversion, the high heart rate, past history of these things. And we already know this, the anterior wall hypokinesia, which was previously present, ejection fraction 35%, again from the previous one only. So now the question is, what is the best long-term management strategy? Because right now the patient is in sinus rhythm with nothing else. So what to do? So one is an ICD. The second is electrophysiological testing and ablation of the VT. The third is inpatient PCI. So straight away, no, this is not the answer because there is no fresh AMI. Outpatient department for assessment, we already know the ECG, the echo, the TROPS, etc. And long-term amiodarone. We really don't need long-term amiodarone here because the patient has got sinus rhythm. There is no, it's not that the patient has a history of AF or something like that. So this is how you rule out this immediately. So now you are left with these two. So they have given ablation of VT, but there is nowhere they have given that there is was a VT to start with, right? Because this will be a sorry, they have given a VT, but it has reverted. So it's not like the electrophysiology testing and ablation of VT is only for recurrent VT, those sort of things. Here, when the patient has already got an AMI, and so there is a there is a scar, so there always a chance of VT is much more. And here the patient has got into an VT with a blood pressure of 60/30, and even next time it occurs, then the patient maybe the patient will go to a cardiac arrest, right? So in these patients, always the ICD is preferred because then the pacemaker. What is ICD? ICD basically the pacemaker is give a shock. Then the shock can be given, which may revert the VT. So again, if you know the answer, then you can go it directly. Otherwise, this way you can come to the answer because there's no negative marking in EDIC part 1. So now now just read the question. One of you try the answer. So 2 minutes to read the question. After that, you can try the answer. Okay. So what is the answer here? First, tell me what is the diagnosis. So here, why the ablation is not the answer? Because the patient is hemodynamically unstable. So here they have asked that the patient was waiting for ablation, but the palpitation did not work out, and the Valsalva was tried. Her heart rate is 200. Presented to the ED and brought to your ICU. Blood pressure is stable here. So here the patient is hemodynamically stable. Here the patient had a VT, hemodynamically unstable VT. So tell me what is the rhythm here? So there are 16 participants and nobody can identify the ECG, or you guys can't unmute yourselves. What's the issue? Like nobody wants to answer and you don't want to participate, and I shall give the answer and everything. How do I proceed with the class? I need to know. Because I have been waiting for 2 minutes. Actually, somebody should have told something that no, sir, you tell the answer. Or do I go to the chat box and see individually? Okay, so everybody has told AF. But you see, if I come to the chat box, I have to stop the screen sharing and come every time. It's better if you guys can unmute yourselves and then tell me the answer. Okay, so it's an AF which is hemodynamically stable. So what is the best treatment for that?
Intravenous amiodarone.
Okay.
Or flecainide. The flecainide option is not here, so I think intravenous amiodarone will be good enough.
But flecainide will never be the answer in your EDIC Part 1 exam. Okay, it's not an ICU drug, so nobody uses it in an ICU, and they will ask you only the questions which is related to the ICU. And here the patient heart rate is 200, the vagal maneuver has been tried, which has failed, and she has presented to the ED, right? So there you don't give flecainide to these patients. You give amiodarone or you give a beta blocker. So why amiodarone and why not beta blocker here?
Sir, beta blockers will reduce the heart rate but not convert to a sinus rhythm.
Okay. So what is the primary target in these cases? To decrease the heart rate or to convert to sinus rhythm? So is it a rate control or rhythm control?
I think rate should be controlled here. 200 is quite high.
Yeah. So like metoprolol and verapamil also control the rate, right? And amiodarone is a chemical cardioverting agent. So why do you want to go for amiodarone and not metoprolol or verapamil in this patient? Okay. So if you go and see the chat, BP will fall with beta blockers, so you are going with rate control. BP is 140 by 80. So what is the problem if it falls a bit? Amiodarone can also cause a hypotension. So you see, the intravenous amiodarone is the correct answer, because what happens? This patient is not in a sinus rhythm, right? There are no POFs at all. So, so both rate and rhythm control can be achieved. And in an ICU setting, you always go for that and not for a rate control alone.